Hey, so I like to make things, and if I make something out of wood, I like to put my brand in it. And there it is. This is what I use. It was a branding iron that I had commissioned from Shapeways, and it's a pretty good deal. It was supposed to plug into an 80-watt soldering iron, but the soldering irons kept burning out, so I just use it with a propane torch now. But anyway, if I make something out of metal, I want my brand in that too. So I had this the same thing commissioned. This was a fellow on Etsy did this. It's a embossing stamp that should leave an impression in steel. Prior to buying it, I asked the guy if it would do that, and he said, "Oh yeah, it would, no problem." And then after I got it and tried it, I come to find out it wouldn't. I talked to the guy about it. He said, "Oh yeah, you'd need a 20-ton press, and you probably should heat the steel up." And I'm like, great, that I really felt kind of swindled by that. But it should still work on aluminum. He told me that if I just press in with about 1 ton of force on aluminum, it should work. Now, I'm pretty cheap, so I don't want to go buy a 1-ton arbor press. But I was at a yard sale the other day and I found this. It's for you home brew enthusiasts, you will recognize this. It's a bottle capper. And I think what I'm going to do here is try to adapt the bottle capper into the press to leave this impression in aluminum. And this thing, it's stainless. I mean, it's cast iron. It's pretty old and pretty tough, and I think it'll work. So here, what I'm going to do, it comes apart pretty easy. It's just a pin. You pull this gear out, and then this rack, because this looks like a rack and pinion, right? Anyway, I'm going to call this the rack. Can be modified. I'm going to just weld in a couple of pieces of steel in there to hold this in place, and then I'm going to give it a try and see how much pressure I can put on it before I either break the cast iron, and if that happens, I'll just build a whole new one, but I can still use these pieces. Anyway, so that's what I'm about to do. Now that'll go down in there and seat on the base of the rack here. Now to make something to hold it in place. I think I'm going to make that out of this. So we've got the embossing stamp, and we've got a couple of pieces cut, and put those together, and that looks like a pretty decent fit. So we'll tack these together and then mount this in the rack. So I just kicked the dog out because I don't want her going blind. I'm going to just put a little tack on this, and then I'm going to remove the embossing stamp and we'll fit it into the rack. Now I think what we'll do is we'll actually just use the press to press the holder in. Okay, so this is what it looks like after grinding off all the ugly part of the welds. And it just goes to show you that Doug Jackson is not the only grinding god on the internet. Anyway, yeah, and it still fits. And it even looks straight. So, let's try it out. Okay, so let's see if this thing works. Huh. Well, it actually left an impression. Okay, so it's not strong enough to just press the image into the aluminum all by itself. But if I whack it a couple of times with a hammer, it'll do it. So I'll give it a good press, and then whack it. So there it is, the bottle capper turned arbor press. And I think it's going to work okay. I still have to whack the top of the rack with a hammer to leave an impression. But it's working, so I'm happy with it. And I didn't have to go buy a big arbor press to do it either. If you like what you saw, please share it. If you hated what you saw, share it with somebody you don't like. And please subscribe. I'll look forward to seeing you guys next time.